for that February meeting.
May I ask a question too, as far as FOIA goes? Gary was concerned that he said to present date is not something, they have to have a date, not just the present date? Is that,
I would say the present date would be the date of the FOIA.
okay, so that is still legitimate, okay.
Yeah, I think that's
like
okay.
I said, he just questioned it a lot, so I thought I'd ask him, because I didn't know the answer.
So is it a matter of being told that this documentation doesn't exist? Because at the planning commission meeting when this was discussed, when Mr. Ruth said that there was no existing salvage yard definition, he was going through a bundle of papers. Are those the papers in question? And if so, it would seem as though they're still in his possession because that meeting was just February 22nd. And those were asked for. And it would just seem as though, I mean, he was going through multiple papers and talking about junkyards and salvage yards and talking about the definitions. So he clearly had some documents in front of him. He went through a whole pile of them.
I know she was supposed to bring back information to us. And I know with elections, the supporting documents to the other document I just referenced has not been put together as of thus yet. The invoices were provided in that FOIA, but the actual supporting documents that those invoices paid for have not, because we had to concentrate on our elections as a priority. So,
If there's documents that you've asked Spicer for and they've not provided them, and you know they exist, I would give them kind of a final demand.
I called Jennifer and she never called me back, but I will see Jennifer on Thursday and I will show her the document and then
Okay.
she can come up with the appropriate documentation so
I'll
that,
talk to her. Don't interrupt the planning commission, whatever you're doing that day for it.
No,
I'll talk to her tomorrow, and apparently there was some communication between them and Sherry that said that they didn't have the information. So if that information is out there, I will talk to her and get it for you. I have tomorrow morning before I go back into the board of review, so
Here.
I will call them tomorrow morning.
I will give you this because all this supporting documentation is what we're looking for.
I will return to you.
And those were documents to be viewed, but you can't view what you don't have.
What was the time frame on that one that you were looking for? Was it 15, 16? I know you kept referencing 15. So 15, 16 on that?
This was a bill from 2015.
Yeah.
I didn't know the actual wording of what you were asking for because
That's
I
just
also
before the
made a
last
request.
update that's
So-
just before the last update of the master plan.
Right. I had asked for those communications as well and was obstructed on that, so that's interesting.
And we're supposed to be keeping those. Because if we're going to use the master document, then we should have the definitions that support the document.
I will get you the answer one way or the other. Thank you. The other one was Lisa Urick's. She requested a copy of, we had a bunch of documents digitized, and at the end she wanted to see the documents.
18 boxes.
18 boxes of
Yep.
documents. Well, once we had them digitized, we technically don't have to keep the documents. So at this particular moment, we don't have the documents here.
I remember when that vote went through the board. It was before the election that I came in on. And I remember that vote taking place. And it was actually discussed specifically that those items would be returned, that some of those documents were well over 100 years old, historical documents, that they were just going to be scanned so that it would be easier to go through those documents because of the how fragile the paper was becoming in these old documents. and there was a vote to approve the scanning. There was never any kind of discussion about destruction.
Well, let me tell you, the paperwork that was sent to the company to do the stick or do the digitizing did have the box checked for the paperwork to be returned.
Yep.
At this particular moment, they've got their heads stuck in the sand and haven't answered me. Do they have the paperwork yet or not?
Okay, Justin, send them a letter, because
Well, they're a third
absolutely
party, they have to
priceless
answer me.
document.
They have to answer me.
Well, if I remember correctly, because I did a second FOIA, I think the appeal asking for all communications between Sherry and Allied, and she had sent them an email, and they replied back that they were destroyed. But, so then she asked, when was it? And then she left on vacation, so I didn't get a reply back from them stating when they were actually destroyed.
I don't believe they've replied.
I was gonna say, I don't
They have
remember
not
seeing that
replied.
document.
Well, I don't know if it's in here, I've got it at home, if
No,
you
it's
guys,
not in here, because all I put in here was your request, and
because I got emails, and the last one was Sherry wanted to know when, and I didn't get anything after that because she had gone on vacation.
I've checked her emails, I do not believe they've sent a reply.
I can,
this is not a reply, this is the actual rules. Is this what you're talking about?
no. I will, when I will get that
Well,
information.
I have asked if they have the documents.
Because did anybody even have enough time to go through this
Yes, there were 60
18
days.
boxes worth
Yep.
of,
60 days, the clerk had to respond as to whether everything was okay. I was looking through the documents, and there were some that were, like half of it, of the page was
Missing?
scanned.
Was it folded
Yeah.
over or something?
Well, I don't know if it was or not, but the point
just the
is
way it
that,
went through. I'm
Well,
just
see,
wondering if we don't know that the
Some of the
documents,
documents, when you look at them on the
flash drive,
flash drive, had printing on both sides of the
That-
paper.
so it bled through.
So it bled through, so you can't even read the one page that's sitting here because it's
It's a
like
mirror
the page
image.
before.
right. But did Greg actually look through the flash drive? That's what I'd like to know. I highly doubt he did.
If that actually was so bad, then we should have absolutely had them documents returned immediately.
Well, let me find out where the documents are. If they're gone, well, then I don't know what we're gonna do because I can't recreate the documents. Well, I can copy them off the drive. But until I get that answer, I can't answer your question.
Well, I will find those emails and I will send them to you tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
They're here, we have a copy of
Well,
The emails that, you just said you didn't see any emails from Sherry.
it. No, I mean, what, oh, I know, I have those emails, I thought a reply, there was never a reply from Applied Imaging.
Right, well, but they replied that yes, they were destroyed.
Oh, I guess I didn't read them that closely, but if you have them, I have
Yeah,
them, because
okay.
I made copies.
All right,
I'll send me yours.
I will.
All right, so we will table these, Mr. Eddy's and Lisa Yurik's, and I will try and get the answers
And
in the
that,
very near future.
just that back to me when we find out.
This FOIA he shared with you.
That FOIA I shared with you, if you can make sure that gets returned to me.
Yes. I put
Give
the
it,
name
just
of
give
the
it back right now, I have a copy of it,
Oh,
Oh, this one here?
yes.
The dispenser goes on?
We keep
Yeah,
a
we
copy
keep
of
a copy
all
of
the
all
FOIAs.
All right. Okay, this 24 North Kaiser Tower, when it comes to the sewer line. This home.
Sam, before you go too much further, I believe the rules are you have to make a determination. So it's not just an issue of tabling it. You have to either say you agree with what the clerk, what's in the clerk's office right now, or you disagree with what's in the clerk's office. If you disagree because you know there's a document, then whoever does it has to provide the document. But you can also, in that same motion, agree to follow up with everybody afterwards as well. But the definition of appeal is that somebody has to make a decision on the appeal.
All right, so let's take Mr. Eddy's. I disagree, so I make a motion that I disagree. I'm not disagreeing with his appeal, I'm disagreeing with the decision that there's no documentation. Is that how it should read?
You have to make the motion consistent with what your beliefs are and what your knowledge is. I can't tell you that you must agree or disagree with the clerk's decision.
With Mr. Eddy's, I agree that there might be another document out there from Spicer in regards to what he's requesting. So
But is it in your possession?
it is not in my possession. So,
Hence, you have the ability to make, you have the requirement, you four have the requirement of making a decision of whether it's in the clerk's possession
no, it's not.
right now, but you also have the right, because FOIA is when you must provide it, you can provide it after the fact anyways. So if you want to make the motion one way or the other, and if you decide to uphold the clerk's decision that there isn't, that document is not within the clerk's office, you can still have the right to go get it and provide it.
Okay, then I make a motion that I agree that that document is not in the clerk's possession at this time.
Wouldn't we as a board have the ability to compel the production of any documents from somebody sitting on another commission that is under this board? Because I'm telling you right now, I saw him go.
If you know that that
sitting right
document
here,
exists
going
by the
through
clerk,
papers.
yes.
I don't think she's got it. I
The
think
clerk does not have it.
No.
That's exactly what I just said. We as a board have the ability to compel an appointed person on a committee to produce those documents. He came here, he made copies, he said that he had them, he sat here, he went through them. He had them sitting right at this table going through papers as he was
Actually,
talking
sitting right
about.
here.
So we have seen him going through a stack of papers. He's apparently admitted that he has them, and yet they weren't produced in this FOIA. So to say, yeah, they don't exist is kind of a dangerous position to stand on.
But that's not what you're saying.
No, I'm saying.
You're
that
saying,
the
does the
clerk-
clerk have them? If the answer is you know the clerk has them, then say you disagree with the clerk. And if you know they exist, then after this meeting, go and produce them with the clerk. If you think somebody's holding out on you, which it sounds like that might be where you're going.
I think
then-
that's what this line says.
Hang on.
If you believe somebody's holding out on you, then I would make a motion once you get done with this to compel them to produce anything that's relating to that.
But the motion right now is that I agree that the clerk of Collin Township does not have the documentation from Mr. Eddy at this time, for this appeal. I need a second. I don't think Sherry has these documents.
I'd like an answer to one question. I asked to have discussion. Can do that at this point. So, what years were shipped off to Applied Imaging or Allied Imaging? The person who took the imaging, what years did they receive? No.
Secondary appeal.
No, that's not the, no, because the
Okay.
point I'm making is, if they have those years, then I'll say yes, and if they don't have those years, then I say no.
I got it. There you go.
Because if you're telling me they did not take all years, they only took, and for some reason, I don't think we said all years. So do we have 2015 to the present documents in this building?
Of what? Planning commission? Of anything, but like specific?
Well, if we had invoices, that means they're supposed to provide us with the work material. So do we have those
But
documents?
I mean, even if we had that invoice that you're referring to in that FOIA, if we were to go to that invoice, there's not gonna be documents attached to it those documents aren't gonna be with.
So
that
they would be
invoice.
with the planning commission documents then.
I would assume so.
So, but if we have the documents in this building, say for the last 15 years, and they only took the ones that were,
But I guess that's what I was asking. Are you
yeah, I'm trying to
specifically
figure
asking
the
for, like,
year out.
the meeting packets for planning commission, or when you say those documents, I mean,
The
an invoice
document,
is gonna be different than a planning commission meeting packet.
well, actually, it shouldn't actually be either of them. It should be the work material that Spicer is providing the PC with, which may not be in that
That's not gonna
packet.
be the invoice, but it might be with the packet, is what I'm saying. That's why I'm trying to clarify what exactly, when you say what years.
But also under that theory, if that's what's on the thumb drive and the originals were destroyed, you could provide him with a thumb drive.
He has a thumb
You've got a copy.
No, I'm just trying to address your question of, hey, if
The question is, what years does the thumb drive actually hold? Did that thumb drive have 125 years of calling on it? Does it have 75 years of calling on it? Did we do all our documents? We did not do all our documents.
There were some really,
We-
really old documents.
We sent the old stuff to preserve it. And I think the newer stuff, so if the newer stuff never left the building, what I'm saying is, it should be in that vault.
Well, and obviously, all, the entire meeting packets would not have been included in that, you know?
I wouldn't
But
think.
if we have an invoice from Spicer and they said, we are working on XYZ, and then that was produced, right, for the planning commission, then XYZ should be in the planning commission packet, and that should be held onto. So there should be corresponding information in that packet, which I agree would make sense that would be there, in that packet that goes with the dates that that invoice covers. So if they did work on something, we should have corresponding information somewhere.
Who keeps the planning commission packets?
Great question.
Who kept them before me?
That's what
I
I'm
know, I
asking.
know I kept all of mine, and I put all of mine in that drawer so that you could.
So they're in that drawer there,
in
if there was
I
supporting
don't know
documents.
where they are, the ones are before me. I
I
know
mean,
I kept
John
all
Class
mine.
was on that board in 2015. You should be able to ask, him.
What year were you awarded in 2015?
Who's on the board?
You, when did, were you
No, I think I
No,
was
that-
on 17, 18, and 19.
I'm not exactly sure who keeps them now. I mean, I keep a packet, but I've never been told to keep a packet. I've just been keeping them.
So we can circle back to records retention, because that's exactly what this is all about.
NEPC notes that Melissa transferred to me is why they're in that file in the zoning room. I did not take any of that stuff out of this building, because otherwise you'll be in a serious, it's township history.
What year is on that flash drive? Do you know right offhand?
I mean, I know what year the tax rolls are. I don't know what years everything else
The
is.
planning
20.
commission starts, I mean, I can go look at it on the envelope.
As far as the meetings.
Well, if I could get in the vault,
But
I
those
can pull
meeting
up.
minutes aren't gonna have the packets, because that's just the
Right,
minutes of
right.
the book.
And that's all we have on the flash drive are
Like that.
minutes.
Minutes.
24.
Right.
Minutes. So the flash drive would only have the minutes, they wouldn't have the packet.
I gotta tell you something, I haven't seen anything about junkyards between 22 and 24. That I do know.
Oh, on flash drive?
No. I mean, in the stuff that I've seen, because we're right now asking for definitions for junkyards. And we have been addressing this master plan for
18 months.
almost 2 years. And so this period right now, because Jennifer sat right there, that she's going to bring the definition with her. And then we talked to her the next time, well, I didn't think we'd be talking about that tonight, and it never got brought. And Fletcher didn't have it on the agenda. So then it would go back to historical of what that thing said for July 24th of 2015. And that would be Because that was,
That ain't gonna be on the stick, because the stick's gonna have minutes, but it ain't gonna have
and the stick,
backup.
the stick doesn't come that far forward.
I don't know.
Well, then they're in our book. I mean, I can go back and get, but it's just minutes.
Yeah, so it's all back to Jennifer then. Okay, I'm just,
So, Mr. Eddy, did you receive any email exchanges as part of this FOIA that you had requested here? I don't have any other information. Did you receive
I
any
did not
email
receive
exchanges?
anything at all.
Okay, so no exchanges whatsoever between Mr. Roof and Spicer
Nope.
regarding any,
The only reason
Topic
I
area
did
at all.
this FOIA was based on a verbal response me and Mr. Roof had after he was leaving this building in the parking lot. And he told me he made a whole bunch of copies and he talked about the definitions and how he said he didn't feel he could go bring the planning commission a definition from 1978 when my grandfather ran the junkyard. He didn't feel he could bring that to the planning commission to copy it. So he felt there was supposed to be a new definition. So he actually, we probably talked for 15 minutes in the parking lot. And he talked about how he copied everything out of every zoning ordinance book to do with the junkyard.
so you received no communications and email and text message or any cell phone dates and times that communication was taking place between Mr. Roof and Spicer or Mr. Roof and Mr. Eagle? You
No.
received absolutely nothing?
0.
Okay. So really the sticking point for us as a board then, obviously there's a lot more to the FOIA that you didn't receive anything for from what you're telling me right now. So the sticking point here seems to be that information that has been seen, that has been discussed, that was collected out of this building, copied by Mr. Roof. That seems to be the sticking point. And yes, I will agree with Mr. Eagle. That doesn't mean per se that I think that the clerk has it, but I do believe that somebody has it because it's been referenced multiple times. It's been witnessed by other people. Clearly, this is something that exists. So is this a matter of not seeking strongly enough to get that information, or is it a matter of being withheld? I mean, it's got to be one or the other, right?
Well, no, the motion at this particular minute is that Sherry, the clerk, does not have this information. Right? That's my motion.
Well,
That we
yeah, I
agree.
think so.
We agree, I
We
agree
that the
with what she
document is
says,
not
that
in the
she
clerk's
does,
possession.
she does not have the documentation that was requested. So now whether after we agree that she does not have this documentation, if I say that I will pursue Spicer and that, will that be another motion then? Or just,
It doesn't have to be a motion, I mean, you can make it, but I would just follow up on
I
it.
would
Either way.
follow up on it.
I think that should be in the form of a motion because it may need finances. Because if Spicer says, well, we already gave you this stuff, so if we have to reproduce this to you, there could be a fee. And if the board didn't approve any type of resources to make sure we get that, then we are stalemated until the next month, which the sooner this is put to rest, the better off it would be for the township. Just saying.
There was a lot of money spent in 2015 with Spicer, and there's nothing to show for it. Nothing.
So, I have a motion on the floor. I do not believe that Sherry has this information in her possession. I agree with Sherry, so my motion is that I agree with the answer that she gave Mr. Eddy, that she does not have possession of this information. Do I hear a second?
I will second that we don't have it.
That Sherry does not have it.
Sherry does not have it.
We'll take a roll call vote on that.
Davison,
Yes.
Cantel,
Yes.
DeShano,
No.
Class.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the necessary finances to get the documentation from Spicer to have Sam